I want to start today's discussion topic off with the thank you that I think you guys are overdue. Thank you guys so much for taking part in my passion for video games. I love talking about video games, and it really means a lot to me that you guys check out these videos. I think since we've seen so many new people, fall here and discover the channel over the last couple of weeks, it's important to let you guys know, if you guys haven't picked up on it, yellow post, whenever you see a thumbnail with yellow around the text, that is a news post. It's also a part of the playlists here on the channel. These posts, green posts, are more discussion and opinionated, a post where I try to bring a little bit more of my personality into the video to try to make it as fun as possible and hopefully as enjoyable to listen to, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. So just note that if you're not interested in some random dude's opinion on the internet, I totally get it. You're not alone. That's, the nature of it. I don't feel offended if you don't like these kind of videos, but just note that maybe avoid green posts in the future. Today, we're going to be talking about a serious topic, one that you guys brought to me, and I think that's going to be important. So let's bring up the comment here that's the inspiration for today's discussion topic. McHayton writes, and honestly, I think that name is awesome, and it makes me laugh every time I see it. I find a lot of things funny, so I'm not trying to dog on McHayton here, but let's go ahead and just dive into the comment itself. Ginger Prime, I don't think the tech is what is holding back the WoW killer. It's more of an uninspiring storytelling and no innovation in combat or technology in favor of chasing profits at the behest of investors. Recent owns everything and keeps the flow of games restrained. Now, on top of that, these companies are pushing woke agendas that punish players for their emotional connections in-game because they claim it's for the good of social society. But this just makes games boring, and the most fun thing about WoW can't even happen because of this. Lack of innovation for chasing profits, restraint and limiting of emotions for social agendas are the two things, which branches off into who gets hired, who gets money, marketing and advertising costs, and punishing gatekeepers or publishing gatekeepers. The true problem with the entire gaming industry by proxy technology is that all the power rests with a few companies and a few people. So today's video, if you guys are just wanting to jump to any specific section, use the chapter markers below. We're going to take this basically kind of paragraph by paragraph, 4 key points that I'm going to kind of talk about that's going to hopefully make up this video. So if you guys like these discussion topics, hitting that like button is a great way of saying thank you. If you don't, just double tap that dislike button to make sure it's working and we're all good. So first and foremost, the tech. We were talking about how, and because the WoW killer mentality is a curse, I think it's ultimately kind of believed that only WoW will kill WoW. WoW killer is a curse. The same thing we've seen, Destiny killer, like the killer label is something I would not want to curse any video game with. It sets up a sense of false expectations that will never be achieved. When everybody expects something like what WoW did originally to happen again, you're only setting yourself up for failure. I believe that if there's ever going to be another WoW moment, I think is a better term, another WoW moment is going to be on the backs of a technological revolution. It might be AI. It might be 10 years away. It might be 10 years plus down the road. Like, it is going to be something where it's like, holy crap, I can't believe this game is doing something so fundamentally different. Why is there thus not a WoW killer? Time and time again, we, the gamers, have told the publishers and the developers to screw off. We will not support your subscription-based game unless it has over 10 years of content already included. We consume the content and then we're like, why am I still playing this? And then the death spiral happens. And then the company is either not financially solvent enough to maintain. Now, a part of this also blame rests on them. Most likely, they just did the bare minimum. They copied World of Warcraft. When you copy a game, the WoW clone mentality, it ends up being a very difficult thing to say, hey, come do the same thing over here in this game where your friends aren't, where your community isn't. And that's one of the things. WoW, and even to a degree, Final Fantasy XIV, via the subscription model, has held on to a vast majority of the money that is available within the industry. And that's why we've seen a financial shift within MMORPGs to basically not exist. WildStar, then New World, There's like a 7-year gap, maybe a 6-year. Like there's a massive gap. Sure, there's the little one-offs that come and go, but it ended up being that the people took their money and they went elsewhere to spend it on other things, and that's the right move. When an entire genre says screw off, we don't want innovation, then innovation's just going to go elsewhere, and that's where we see the rise of battle royales and whatever's to come next. There will not be a WoW killer. There just can't be. I think that mantra, that mindset is one of the things that curses the genre. When people just play for the hype, you're going to see inflated numbers. And then when you take that inflation out and you say that the game is dead, you're only then continuing to kind of live in this cycle, saying that you want new things, but then your actions don't even align to it. I'm not going to try to get political, but we see this all the time in politics. People's words don't align with how they vote, and the data across the board, left, right, it doesn't matter what your opinion is, it reflects that. And gamers are the same way. We talk a big game, but when the dollars and the donuts and the roads and all the stuff hits together, you're not necessarily if you're left wondering why this isn't happening, just go look. Free-to-play games continue to dominate. Gambling mechanics continue to dominate. These systems continue to dominate despite the angry rhetoric online. And it's because we're the minority. And that's okay. If we understand where we are as a group, as a community, or however you want to label this, we actually then become stronger because we can understand the fight. But everybody spends more time infighting over on Reddit that it is purely pointless, in my opinion. All right. Now, welcome to topic number 2, the woke agenda. Why is this happening? Well, companies are rewarded finances based off a concept called ESG. You might not have heard of it. It's essentially where it's kind of the social regulation score that is opening up companies to things like, venture capitalism and things like that. Money. When money is not available, there's no games. Like, it all boils down to money. Now, whether you want to side on the woke side or the non-woke side, like at the end of the day, like for me, just don't be an asshole. Just don't treat people poorly, but then don't also try to convert me, to your way of thinking. I'm all about discussions, but these tend to be impossible to have online because we're all trying to one-up each other for attention. If you guys have seen any of my previous videos, attention is the currency of the internet. Right now, you are giving me your attention. Thank you so much for that. I try to give you attention back in terms of the comments, especially when they're constructive. And that's a part of the beauty of what YouTube is. Just because social media can be used for poor and, jerk off kind of things, doesn't mean it's as a tool a bad thing. It's all in how we use the tool. If you want to use a hammer in an incorrect way, same thing with social media. This applies to me too. These are things that I try to actively do my best to make sure that I am bringing you guys value-driven, well-thought-out content. Sometimes I miss the mark, and that's just the nature of being human. Welcome, fellow humans. Unless you guys are ChatGPT or some kind of AI out there, I welcome you, overlords. Please, continue to watch. Blah blah blah. Anyhow, I think a lot of people, especially in terms of it, are fatigued with this mindset. Does it mean that we should bully and be mean to people who believe in kind of a woke ideology? Not at all. That's not going to win over anybody. Dunking and retweeting and being an asshole doesn't win at all. It might make you feel good for a little bit, but at the end of the day, on your deathbed, is that something you're going to be proud of? Probably not. So, if we can all take a mantra of don't be an asshole, I think the world could be better. I think you can be better. I know I can be better in all the things that we do. But yeah, you want to know why that is? It's because that's how companies are getting their funding. And it's annoying, and it shouldn't be something that we applaud. But that's the world we live in right now, and I have no power to control or fix that. The best thing you can do, and this is just my advice to you, if you have never heard me say this, listen very carefully, please, just for a minute. Stop worrying about the things you can't control. Stop worrying about the things you can't influence. You're wasting your time. This is what I tell my mom when she's on Facebook. you're wasting your time. Focus on the things you have influence on and control over. I can only control the way I handle things. I can only control my emotions. I cannot control you. I cannot make you click like. I cannot make you comment. I cannot make you subscribe. Nor do you want me to. I do not want that power. You do not want me to have that power. You do not have that power over me. You do not control the content that I produce. You do not control the words that I speak. Thank goodness for that, for all cases. But what can you control? You can control yourself. And if you can't, we got to figure that out. That's a part of being adult. You can control yourself. You can control how you react to things, and you can have influence and real impact on the people that matter the most in your life. The internet is semi-real. It's not real, but it's semi-real. Like, you can feel like these are real relationships. You hear a lot of big content creators talking about this weird relationship, this parasocial relationship that they have with their communities, with their audiences. I like the term community because honestly, as a dad, I don't really get out a lot. Like, I don't have a lot of dude friends. And so being able to play video games with you guys is the gift that you guys give me, the option to sit down and hang out and just make jokes and play games. Thank you. But that aspect with parasocial, it can cloud people, makes them think that something is like really real. Like, you're not actively in my house, but I'd go have a beer with you, perhaps, depends, as long as it's safe. That's where the relationship changes. But you have real relationships, hopefully, whether they're family or friends. And if they're strained, fix them. I guarantee you, when you're on your deathbed, those are things that you can fix. They might take time, they might be painful, and especially if it comes to a kind of a political divide, where I've seen that happen over and over and over again. First and foremost, fix it. How do you fix it? Don't fight, just ask questions. If you don't know what to say, just ask questions. If it's a poor argument they're making, it will fall apart right on the floor, right in front of your eyes. Don't worry about it. Trust me, it works every time. It's how I handle things. All right. Chapter 3, lack of innovation for chasing profits, restraint for limiting the emotions of social agendas. More than two things. So who gets fired? Who gets the money? Who gets the marketing cost? That is one of the big things when it comes to MMORPGs. A big aspect of it, when people talk about not wanting to support games, or people saying, oh, subscriptions can work. How many MMOs are you subscribed to? Are you subscribed to Embers Adrift right now? They just announced a permanent price decrease to $10 a month. Are you? Is that the kind of game you want? Again, this ties into gamers talk a big game, but the majority, not the 10% who actually do, the 90% who are just kind of here, just kind of going by with life. They're not wrong. Games don't need to always stand for anything, You don't have to go throw your money down every rabbit hole in the hopes of actually, having success in something you think you want. I think I do, but I don't, That's where that phrase, both notorious and wrong, but also in some degrees, it's based off of data. That's what the data showed, and it takes an absorbent amount. I think, honestly, that phrase helped embolden it, helped strengthen it. So in a way, getting angry about that is a kind of a positive thing. Lack of innovation is driven by profits. There aren't any. We're playing 14 in Final Fantasy 14, and wow, 13 plus years, 20 plus years. This genre has not been innovating. And when it does, the answer is screw off. And that, and to be fair from the gamers, it's not up to you. Like, the game has to deliver. They have to do the content. So they have to do way more work, which means way more cost, way more risk. And the investors are hesitant. This ties right into chapter 4. A few companies with power and the people. Why is that? Because it costs so dadgum much to make these games, and because there isn't really room for a middle class. There isn't a middle class on Twitch. There really isn't a middle class out there. Like, YouTube's a little bit better for the middle class in terms of the content creators. But when you start to look at it, even with the movies, everything's going to streaming. Game Pass, PlayStation Plus is the same thing. How Hollywood is acting is exactly how the game industry is doing and is following suit. The middle class, the kind of games that, gamers don't buy them for $70. They don't buy them for $60. They probably wouldn't buy them for $50. They might buy them for $20. And the cost of the game really kind of matters. And so why you're seeing those games all shift into Game Pass. So what you see now is kind of the rich, the rich, and the poor. So the indies versus the AAA. If you look at the games that people are buying are the sequels, the games that are like massive $100 million plus budgets, $250 million budgets, big teams that, need funding. These people aren't working for free, nor should they. It's not wrong to make money. It really is like the wrong is how you make your money, right? Like it's not bad to make money. No one's sending, you go to work and you get paid. You're not a bad person for doing that. And then at the same time, the indies, which are also championed, like you see, like those are where indies are the innovation, and the risk adverse is the 250 million, because if they swing and miss on 250 million, like that could crater some companies. And so you see them more and more becoming bigger and bigger and self-protecting and having all these things. That's why Amazon's the one who is making MMORPGs. Whether you like that or not, that's who they are. And they've got more on the way. At some point, you will have an Amazon MMORPG in your library, and you will check in on it from time to time. I don't know which one it is. It might already exist. But that's the reality, because we have overwhelmingly told them to screw off. So innovation's there, but it takes time. People don't like New World, quote unquote. I think the game's great, delivers a lot, has innovation. The open world in and of itself is really quite like magical. But that doesn't mean you have to like it. But at least that's where things are changing. But here's the thing, kind of as my final thought. I don't really see these as problems, because I also don't have any authority to change these things. As somebody who does not have a lot of capital, I can tell you one of the things that would change a lot of this conversation is if we all got together, we all took $25. Like if there was 1 million people and we took $25, we could make a game that was pretty cool. Could we make an MMORPG? Oh, hell no. Take us 10 years. I'm all rooting for Ashes of Creation. I think that is going to be one of the things that everybody looks back at and says, oh yeah, that was a mess. I hope that Steven knocks it out of the park, but at the end of the day, he's selling an idea, a dream, something emotional that we all can get connected to, something emotional we all attach to, want to believe in. I can't wait to see what it's like ethereal. I hope, physical, when we can touch the product, when we can, when the servers stay up, when they have content updates, when the game continues on. I hope Ashes of Creation delivers what he strives to do. But Ashes of Creation is a religious argument at this point. There's a lot of religious arguments that people make in gaming, very emotionally driven, how it makes you feel. And that's the nature of social media. At the end of the day, these are emotion engines. Emotions win the day. Facts and data, yeah, maybe we deal without those for a little bit. Anyway, guys, I think this is an important conversation to have. I'm going to keep having these conversations with you guys. I appreciate you if you hung out all the way here to the end. I don't know what time we're at, 20 minutes, 19 minutes. Sound off in the below. I Am Legend, 19-minute club, 20-minute club, something like that. So I can thank you personally for engaging with this video, because that is a way that you help this out. And just like I began this video, thank you guys for your time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much for your opinions. Whether you agree and disagree with any of what I've shared here today, I do always really appreciate them. So I thank you guys. I wish you all the very best. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. But until then, take care.